growth spurt never quite occurred for me, but here we are. So, evening everyone. First of all, thank you for the invitation to come and discuss my, you're quite right, taking a few twists and turns career journey with you. Essentially, how I became an APT and how I became an outside tech registered scientist. So, I'll take you through a mercifully brief tour of my career to date. I graduated in 2008 from the University of Sheffield with a BA, so I am not a scientist by background at all, in archaeology and prehistory, so specialising in what people like to be buried with when they died. Graduating in a recession, as a lot of you will know, a lot of funding was cut, so it was a case of finding something that kept my 2 cats and cat biscuits, and obviously kept me in gainful employment. So I've been with the NHS since 2010. A few different roles within that, quite a lot of corporate roles. I was a medical secretary for my sins as well, and I've been living board meetings, a lot of spreadsheets, a lot of action logs, and when will we get that pie chart off you. As part of my portfolio of work, pathology and therefore the mortuary came under that as well. So I was invited down to lend a bit of a helping hand to the pandemic response as a mortuary assistant, so very much freeing up the technical staff for what they needed to do and just keeping things running day to day, so more of a mortuary assistant role, booking in folks, making sure the paperwork was up to standard, releasing to their funeral directors and all that kind of thing. And it was during this time that I decided, at the ripe old age of 32, what I should really be doing with myself. I realised that I enjoyed going to work every single day, and what could I do about that to make this way every day once the pandemic had ended. It's really important to note at this point as well that the first day I stepped foot into a mortuary, I met a nice man called Dave, just to make it obvious which one he is. He's also an APT, he's a senior APT, and we were married 10 days ago, so a good story. I did promise I'd pop him in, and obviously thanks to my colourful ways, he's clearly had a little bit of a change in haircut as well, following in his wife's footsteps there. So, first of all, what is an APT? An anatomical pathology technologist is our full role. You'll hear us called pathology technicians, mortuary techs, occasionally morticians, which isn't quite right, but we accept it anyway. So to give a little bit of context of what we do, it is very much any aspect of after-death care. In the case of my mortuary at Colchester, I'm at Colchester now, we are a public and a hospital mortuary, so anyone from Colchester and the Greater Tendring Peninsula, so think Clacton-on-Sea, Harwich. We take in patients from sudden unexpected deaths in the community, and also our ladies and gents that die on the wards as well. More sort of the soft skills, so sort of more sort of, less sort of sciencey stuff, shall we say. Facilitate blessings, viewings, police identification procedures. We assist at home office and forensic post-mortem examinations with a forensic pathologist. And really provide the last aspect of the patient's care journey. It's often the side of care that people don't like to consider when they're walking into the hospital. Everyone wants to leave out a certain set of doors rather than come to us. But in terms of the hats that we wear, scientists is at the very fore, especially in the post-mortem room environment. We are taking histology samples, toxicology. We are there using our anatomical knowledge to provide a handover to the pathologist, or bit of a nutmeg liver here, or I found some metastases. It's very much you're always learning, and although it's the greatest anatomy lesson that you will never receive, you've never seen it all, so actually it is an education every single day. And again here with multi-agency working as well, so we do have a lot of contact with the police, especially for idents or forensics. Any sort of like safeguarding, chaplaincy are a big part of us as well, so obviously we need to look after the bereaved as well as the patient themselves, so we're looking after everybody involved in that bereavement process. So, to become an APT, you do the Royal Society of Public Health Level 3 Diploma in Anatomical Pathology Technology. I did not stumble through that. So the apprentice pathway as well runs alongside that. I did take the more traditional route where you do gain a substantive post as an APT, and then you go on the diploma. Lots of coursework, lots of exams. Obviously anatomy and physiology is a massive part of that, but there's also microbiology and infection control, a lot of health and safety, obviously, exposure to bodily fluids and sharps and everything else is always that at the forefront of your mind. So I got my trainee post at West Suffolk Hospital in September 2021. Those posts are quite rare. They're traditionally very, very small teams. Those of us that do it love it. You don't want to go and do anything else. So again, you are very much sort of backfilling any sort of vacancies or restructuring of all the existing services. You know, a lot about yourself as a person in this environment as well, because there's not a lot of people to sort of dilute any situations. It can be quite emotional sometimes, so you do have to be able to talk to each other, have each other's back. You know, you can obviously have an absolute standard of professionalism, but there are cases that will affect you more than others. Being able to talk about that is really, really important, and we do. And I'm very, very fortunate now. I now work at Colchester under an extremely experienced team, and again, every day is a school day. No one's seen it all, not even the guys that I work with have been doing this since the 90s. So Science Council registration then, which is obviously why I'm here. So I took the shortened application process for Science Council registration after qualifying as an APT. The masterclass was absolutely invaluable. Christine's here tonight, who was running that as well. Can't get away from it, pointing you out. So again, it's looking at evidence of good practice, reflection, how things can be improved, what you do to improve a process, all sorts around team working as well. The masterclass in September was fantastic. You know, we were not many of us in the rooms. I think there've been quite a few sort of, you know, pressures in terms of capacity nationwide. You do tend to sort of find those peaks and troughs throughout the year. But essentially, being able to speak to assessors whilst you were writing it in real time. You know, what's a good example? What's a bad example? As someone who isn't a scientist by background, you know, I very much went into the arts before I found it. It was actually really, really eye-opening to see, you know, what was an acceptable answer and what wasn't, and really making a point of reflecting how we do things differently. And on the back of that, I have been asked to assess future applications for the RSciTech as an APT, which I'm thrilled about, not just because I'm nosy and like seeing how other people do things, but I do really want to pass this on. It's really, really important that, you know, we don't work in silos, like you just alluded to. You know, got tiptoes to see you there. You know, it's very much a team effort, and actually any good practice, any improvements to practice, any developments to a service that we can give, absolutely invaluable. Things should not stagnate, as we all in the room can agree, in our various professions. So there's quite a lot of APTs now as well, not just myself who have gone through the shortened process. I think we're saying there's about 20 now who have done that. And again, it's great to see people making that time, being part of this you know, shortened application scheme, where, you know, the next step is I do the level 4 diploma in the next step, but the real focus for me is on CPD, because without that continued reflection, right, how can we make this better, what did we learn, what didn't go so well, what went great, you're never going to improve and move things on. And I'm a little stop hand. There we are, beaver in the way on our application day. And there's a pink-haired lady that you might recognise in her kitchen. So the future, you know, events such as this on the back of the application, it will give me the confidence to go ahead and, you know, do the level 4, hopefully share my experiences as well. The future of the APT is really interesting when it comes to, you've probably heard, or if you've seen that Channel 5 show, Cause of Death, that was set in Lancashire. CT postmortems are now a big thing, and it's again, how can we learn from that, what can we take, when do we use it, you know, what is appropriate, and there's of course the role of the more sort of advanced practitioner APT as well. So it's quite exciting. I've given you a bit of a whistle-stop tour there. I do tend to speak quite quickly when I'm nervous. But do you have any questions about anything?